There comes a moment in a woman's life when she realizes that the love she has been chasing was never meant to be pursued. And it is in that very realization that something ancient awakens within her, something she had forgotten she possessed. A quiet magnetism, an inner gravity, a softness that does not weaken but attracts. As Carl Jung said, what you resist not only persists, but grows. And perhaps that is why the harder you try to hold on, the further love seemed to slip away. I want you to feel this with your whole being, just for a moment. The shift that happens when you stop forcing, stop proving, stop stretching yourself into shapes your soul never agreed to. There is a boundary between effort and essence, and once you cross it, everything about love begins to change. You no longer chase affection. You become the kind of presence that affection naturally gravitates toward. Maybe you have spent years believing that love responds to intensity, dedication, or sacrifice. That the more you give, the more he will see your worth. But deep inside, a quieter truth has always whispered to you. Real attraction begins where over-effort ends. When you step back, not out of fear, but out of self-return, something shifts in the air around you. Men feel it instantly. Even the most inattentive man senses that your energy has changed. You are no longer reaching outward. You are allowing life to come toward you. Your silence begins to speak for you. Your presence gains weight. Your absence becomes meaningful. And suddenly, love that once ran from you begins to slow down, begins to turn, begins to notice. Jung believed that the unconscious carries a truth the conscious mind tries to avoid. And perhaps, deep down, you always sense that when you stop chasing, you stop declaring to the world, "I am incomplete." Instead, your aura begins to say, "I am whole." And wholeness is magnetic. This is only the first step. The moment when the old pattern breaks and a new kind of gravity begins to form inside you. A gravity that pulls toward you what was never meant to be forced. There is a silence inside you that you have ignored for too long. A silence that tried to show you that the more you reach outward, the more life pulls away. Because love, like breath, cannot be held by force. It expands only when you release the tension in your chest. It draws near when you stop chasing echoes. And something remarkable happens the moment you stop trying so hard. Your energy reorganizes itself. The frantic vibration softens. Your presence becomes fuller. Your boundaries become clearer. Your heart stops pleading and begins listening. Men feel this immediately, not because you speak differently, but because your essence no longer whispers desperation. It radiates self-possession. You become a woman who is not running toward love. You are allowing love to walk toward you. Jung wrote that what you withdraw from returns in another form. This is exactly what magnetism looks like in real life. When you withdraw from emotional overexertion, love returns to you not as chaos, but as clarity. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but the moment you stop overgiving, a man senses that something precious is no longer freely available. He senses that access to your heart now requires presence, not promises. He senses that your attention is no longer an open-door corridor he can wander in and out of. Your calm begins to challenge him. Your quiet starts to reflect his inconsistencies. Your absence weighs more than your constant availability ever did. This is how magnetism is born, not from trying to be irresistible, but from refusing to abandon yourself. And as you stand there, no longer pushing against life, something ancient within you awakens. A knowing that you were never meant to chase. You were meant to attract. You were meant to receive. You were meant to let love come toward the place where you finally stand still. This is only the beginning of the shift. The deeper transformation happens next. When we explore how your inner stillness becomes a force no man can ignore. There is a turning point in every woman's heart when she realizes that love is not something she must pursue. It is something that responds to her inner state. And when this realization finally sinks into your bones, your entire emotional world begins to rearrange itself. Because magnetism is not born from what you do, but from what you stop doing. When you stop forcing conversations, stop trying to secure reassurance, stop molding yourself to be chosen, your energy shifts from scarcity to sovereignty. And that shift is powerful. Love feels it instantly. Men feel it instantly. Even the universe feels it instantly. Jung once said that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Perhaps this is why you spent years chasing men who drifted, waiting for affection that came in fragments, holding on to connections that only survived because you carried them. Your unconscious belief told you that effort equaled worth. But now, something new is emerging. You are beginning to see that true attraction rises from within, not from performance. And the moment you stop forcing, you become aligned with the truth of who you are. Not a seeker, but a source. And something extraordinary happens when you step back into yourself. Your silence suddenly becomes magnetic. Your boundaries begin to glow. Your presence deepens, as if your soul has stepped forward ahead of your body. Men lean in without knowing why. They sense an internal richness, a softness that doesn't plead, a strength that doesn't threaten. Your energy no longer says, "Choose me." It says, "I am already whole." And wholeness is irresistible. This is the paradox of magnetism. When you no longer need anyone to fill the spaces within you, someone will try to enter those spaces. When you no longer cling to affection, affection begins to reach toward you. When you stop trying to control love, love begins to follow your movement. You become like the moon, silent, steady, luminous, and everything around you unconsciously shifts its tides in response. This is only the beginning of your magnetic transformation. In the next part, we will go deeper into why men instinctively pursue a woman who embodies receptive strength, and why chasing destroys that dynamic instantly. There is something almost mystical that happens when a woman stops reaching outward and begins standing fully inside herself. Men feel it instantly, long before they understand it. Because the truth is simple. Masculine energy is not awakened by pursuit, it's awakened by presence. And when your presence stops diluting itself through overgiving, something inside him sits up, pays attention, and starts to move toward you. It's not manipulation. It's not strategy. It's nature. As Carl Jung said, what you withdraw from does not disappear. It transforms and returns in a new form. This is exactly what happens with love. When you stop pouring your energy into someone who has offered little, that same energy begins to return to you as power, clarity, and emotional gravity. And men feel that gravity. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Your quiet becomes more intriguing than your explanations. Your self-focus becomes more attractive than your sacrifice. Because suddenly, he is no longer receiving the constant reassurance he once relied on. He no longer feels your emotional net stretched beneath him. He no longer hears the echo of you waiting. And this is the moment the masculine instinct awakens. The instinct to move toward what is valuable, not what is convenient. You see, when you chase, a man unconsciously assumes there is nothing he must earn. When you force connection, he assumes connection is guaranteed. But when you stop, when you return your energy to yourself, when you step into receptive strength instead of emotional pursuit, he begins to feel the risk of losing something that once cost him nothing. And that risk shakes him awake. This is not a game. It's a shift in polarity. Your stillness becomes a mirror. Your boundaries become an invitation to rise. Your emotional independence becomes the very thing that draws him closer. Suddenly, his attention sharpens. His efforts increase. His presence deepens. Not because you asked, but because you stopped asking. Jung believed the soul gravitates toward what helps it grow. And a woman who embodies receptive magnetism becomes exactly that. A presence that challenges a man to evolve, not because she demands it, but because her energy quietly requires it. And this is where the real transformation begins. Because once a woman enters this state, she no longer wonders why love avoids her. She watches how love begins to follow her. There is a quiet turning point in your evolution as a woman. The moment you realize that receiving is not passivity, it is power. For too long, you were conditioned to believe that love must be earned, proven, or maintained through constant giving. You poured and poured and poured, until you forgot that you, too, were meant to be filled. But magnetism is born the moment you shift from trying to be chosen to allowing yourself to be met. This is the essence of receptive energy, not waiting helplessly, but standing fully in your worth, inviting life to respond to you. As Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And when you embrace the truest version of yourself, you naturally begin to receive instead of chase. Your energy stops leaking. Your heart stops bargaining. Your worth stops being negotiable. And men feel this shift like a changing climate. Because a woman who knows how to receive is not demanding. She is discerning. She is not passive. She is magnetic. She is not waiting. She is choosing. When you embody receptive strength, you stop trying to force outcomes. You stop explaining yourself into exhaustion. You stop running after someone who gives you breadcrumbs. Instead, you move differently. Your presence becomes softer but fuller. Your silence holds more meaning than your explanations ever did. Your eyes no longer ask. They simply see. And this is where magnetism becomes undeniable. A man can feel when he must bring something of value to be close to you. Not gifts, not grand gestures, but effort, presence, consistency, truth. He senses that your world is no longer built around his availability. He senses that your heart is no longer accessible through shortcuts. He senses that your attention is now something he must earn, not something he can coast into. This is not a performance. This is alignment. Jung believed that the soul is drawn toward what restores its balance. And when you stand in receptive energy, you become that balance, a calming yet compelling force, a presence that doesn't chase because it doesn't need to. And love begins to chase you, not because you manipulated anything, but because you finally stopped abandoning yourself. There is a moment in your transformation when you no longer move from fear, longing, or anticipation. You move from center, and that center becomes your quiet superpower. Most women don't realize this. Stillness is not the absence of action. It is the presence of certainty. When you step into this inner quiet, something extraordinary happens. Your nervous system softens. Your mind stops rehearsing loss. Your energy stops pulling on what isn't meant for you. And instead of reaching outward, you return inward. This return is magnetic. As Carl Jung wrote, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order." Your stillness is that secret order. It reorganizes everything around you without you needing to force a single thing. Men feel this instantly. Even if they cannot name it, they sense the difference between a woman who anchors herself and a woman who abandons herself. Your emotional stillness becomes a mirror to his inconsistency. Your quiet confidence exposes where he is unsteady. Your inner balance awakens his instinct to approach carefully, respectfully, intentionally. Because a woman rooted in herself is rare, and rare things command attention. This doesn't mean you silence your feelings. It means your feelings no longer control you. You're no longer pulled by anxious thoughts, nor driven by the need to secure reassurance. You've become grounded, present, whole. And this wholeness shifts the dynamic between you and any man who enters your life. He slows down around you. He becomes more deliberate, more aware, more attuned. Your stillness awakens his depth. Your self-respect awakens his maturity. Your calm awakens his desire to offer something steady in return. Because now, your energy says something unmistakable. I don't chase chaos. I attract alignment. Jung believed that the soul gravitates toward what completes it. A woman in her center becomes exactly that, not because she fills a man's emptiness, but because she invites him to rise into his fullness. And this is the foundation of true magnetism. A magnetism that does not pull. It draws. It invites. It allows. There comes a point in a woman's evolution when she realizes that she no longer needs to explain her worth, justify her emotions, or convince anyone of her intentions. Something shifts, quietly, powerfully, and the world around her begins to respond differently. Because when you stop over-explaining, you return to something more sacred than persuasion. Clarity. Clarity in your tone. Clarity in your desires. Clarity in your boundaries. And clarity, unlike justification, carries weight. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But once you do, something beautiful happens. You stop negotiating your value through words. You begin to embody it instead." A woman who is emotionally self-possessed does not rush to justify why she feels what she feels. She does not scramble to fix discomfort. She does not dilute her truth just to keep someone close. She speaks simply, directly, with a softness that does not bend, but does not need to harden either. And men feel this shift immediately. Your short, grounded words reveal more than your long explanations ever did. Your silence becomes meaningful instead of anxious. Your presence feels intentional instead of pleading. Suddenly, he realizes he can no longer soothe you with half-effort. He can no longer rely on your emotional labor to hold the relationship steady. He can no longer hide behind your generosity of understanding. Why? Because now, you are not trying to be understood. You are expressing yourself with the grace of someone who knows she deserves to be. Your emotional self-possession awakens a deeper instinct in him. The instinct to listen. The instinct to pay attention. The instinct to act with care instead of complacency. He senses that entering your emotional world now requires steadiness. Not performance. Not charm. Not empty promises. But presence. This is the profound magnetism of simplicity. Not withholding, but refining. Not playing games, but elevating your standard of communication. Jung believed that the soul becomes luminous when it integrates its shadow. Your self-possession is that integration. The moment you stop outsourcing your emotional stability and start living from your own depth. And from that depth, everything about you becomes more compelling. Your voice, your gaze, your boundaries, your silence. A woman who no longer over-explains becomes unforgettable. There is a mysterious moment in a woman's inner transformation when she stops asking, "Why do the wrong men keep coming?" and begins to witness something astonishing. They stop coming at all, not because you push them away, but because you have risen to a frequency they simply cannot reach. This is what happens when your energy elevates. You stop attracting men who want access without effort. You stop entertaining those who confuse intensity with intimacy. You stop resonating with those who cannot meet you on emotional ground. Your presence becomes a natural filter. Silent, efficient, undeniable. Carl Jung said, "You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that is exactly what you have done. You became conscious of your patterns, your habits of overgiving, the parts of you that once accepted too little. And the moment you made that darkness conscious, your inner light grew stronger. It grew sharper. It grew wiser. Men feel this shift long before they understand it. A man whose intentions lack depth will feel subtly uncomfortable around your new energy. Not because you reject him, but because he can no longer hide in the shadows of your old tolerances. He feels exposed by your clarity. He feels inadequate before your self-respect. He feels out of place in the presence of a woman who no longer needs chaos to feel alive. And so he quietly drifts away, not because you pushed him, but because he cannot breathe in the altitude you now inhabit. But something else happens too, something even more powerful. Men who are aligned with your new energy begin to appear with ease. They show up without being chased. They express themselves without being coaxed. They offer effort without being asked. These are men who feel nourished, not intimidated, by your growth. Men whose emotional world matches your internal stability. Men who sense your value and respond with devotion instead of fear. Because once you rise, you no longer attract from wounds. You attract from worth. And a woman who attracts from worth becomes magnetic without trying. She becomes radiant without performing. She becomes a force without forcing. This is the true power of energetic elevation. Your life begins selecting for you. The ones who aren't ready fall away. The ones who are meant to stay draw near. And you no longer have to work for love. Love begins to work for you. There comes a moment in a woman's awakening when she realizes that all her life she tried to control what was never meant to be controlled. The timing, the pacing, the reactions, the outcomes of love. And that realization is not painful. It is liberating. Because the moment you stop gripping life with both hands, life finally has space to reach for you. This is the secret most women never learn. Surrender is not weakness. It is magnetism. When you release the anxiety of what will happen and step into the quiet confidence of what is meant for me will arrive, your energy softens, expands, and becomes undeniably attractive. Carl Jung said, "What you resist remains. What you accept transforms." And when you accept that you do not control love, but you do control your inner state, everything begins to shift in your favor. Surrender does not mean doing nothing. It means doing your part, and then allowing life, timing, and the other person to do theirs. It means no longer chasing answers, no longer forcing connection, no longer trying to rush what needs time to unfold. When you surrender, your presence becomes lighter, calmer, deeper. Your heart stops clinging and starts choosing. Your intuition becomes sharper because it finally has space to speak. And men feel this change immediately. A woman who surrenders is unpredictable in the most beautiful way. Not because she plays games, but because she is no longer driven by fear. Her energy says, "I do not need to hold you to keep you. And if you drift, I will not collapse. I remain rooted in myself." This steadiness awakens something ancient in the masculine. The instinct to pursue, to protect, to come closer without being pulled. Because suddenly, there is nothing to resist, nothing to push back against, nothing that suffocates his freedom or floods his mind. You have become spacious, and spaciousness invites movement. He feels safe to express, safe to return, safe to deepen, not because you demanded it, but because your surrender created an emotional environment where authenticity thrives. Jung believed that the psyche moves toward what feels alive, and a woman who has surrendered her anxiety to trust, her control to faith, her fear to self-belief, radiates a life force that pulls a man in without a single word spoken. This is the moment love stops being something you reach for and starts becoming something that reaches for you. There is a moment, quiet, almost sacred, when everything you have transformed within yourself finally settles into place. A moment when you no longer hope for love, or chase it, or fear losing it. You simply become the woman who naturally receives it. This is the culmination of your journey. Not a trick, not a strategy, but an inner evolution that changes the very fabric of your presence. Because once you understand this truth, truly understand it, love does not just approach you. It recognizes you. It commits to you. It stays with you. Carl Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But now, for the first time, love does not transform you by diminishing you. It transforms you by rising to meet you. You are no longer the woman who loved with fear in her chest. No longer the woman trying to hold someone in place. No longer the woman who believed she must earn what should flow naturally. You have stepped into your inner throne, and a man feels that, deeply, instinctively. Your energy now speaks with a certainty no words can imitate. I am whole. I am here. I choose love that chooses me. This is the kind of woman a man does not take lightly. This is the kind of woman he shows up for fully, not out of pressure, but out of admiration. This is the kind of woman whose presence stabilizes him, inspires him, calls him into a higher version of himself. Your magnetism now is not about beauty, charm, or mystery. It is about inner coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and boundaries align so cleanly that your soul feels like home. A woman like this does not fear losing love, because she knows she will never lose herself again. And that is why the right man stays. Not because you held on to him, but because you held on to you. This is your rebirth, your initiation into a new way of loving and being loved. And if you reach this point, if these words touched you, awakened you, echoed something ancient inside you, then you are no longer the woman you were when you began this journey. You are stepping into a new life, a new love, a new self. And from this moment forward, love will no longer run from you. It will move toward you, steadily, intentionally, unmistakably, because you have become the kind of woman love can recognize, honor, and remain with.